quite frankly, I never actually saw the poll. I was listening to George Davis and his interpretation of his lack of understanding of the interpretation. I never got a chance to read the article, I must be honest. But I listened to George Davis and he was he read the article and he was confused as to how to understand the article, But Don Anderson poll is something that I not really pay much attention to because I think he is tainted and he does not put out a credible poll. So more than likely, every time he puts out a poll, it is going to be skewed for people to believe. What he wants now, he's trying to do two things. Use one stone to kill two birds. He wants to be able to make his poll be credible so that he says that, listen, this is not what I said. So based on the line of questioning, he make the poll is skewed for people to believe that the PMP is actually doing better than they are, And that is how he puts a question, or he formulates a question when he goes out there. And when he comes back and the finding is left to interpretation. Like how the do that poll would give you some definitive numbers.
Yeah.
And in terms of how you segregate or disaggregate the responses, his thing is kind of lumping, and it has always been that case, lumping all the questions together. And then, you have a band of negative. So the band of negative would have been good, would have been worst, bad, worst, you know what I mean? And then good would have been good, very good, and then you probably lump them to say this is what is happening. So you never get a true picture of what the finding is at the end of the day. So I've never actually given much thought to his poll because I quite frankly don't understand how he does his thing.
You to the poll all along or since him come the pollster?
Since he has become the PMP pollster.
Okay.
Before he was very much giving the hard questions out there, and then he would come back and give you similarly to how Blue Dot does their thing, because that is how poll sampling is done, You have to ask questions and then you get the numbers, so you can disaggregate the numbers, so you get in terms of whether it is within the margin of error or outside of the margin of error, so you have some definitive numbers. And that way now you can say the margin of error is 2 or the margin of error is 3%, And so based on where you want to put it, you probably may say, well, depending on who has the popularity, you probably may give them the edge. If it is close, and if it is not close, then you probably could deduce from it. It could be either 3% plus or 2 or 3% minus, Right. So pretty much it's not a poll that we probably should take umbrage to. Or probably, read into a lot, because we are seeing what is happening on the ground and we are doing our own polls. And if you probably scroll through TikTok right from one corner to the next, it gives you an idea of what the sentiment is.
Yeah, man, because Barry remember in 2022 when the country call up and we and done with we. When the politician getting salary increase, when Dr. Clark tell the politicians when Dr. Clark said 20%, when we pass the Road Traffic Act, everywhere you scroll on social media, everywhere the people never want hear we name call. The people never want to say Jamaica Labour Party. We're back against the wall, and you could feel it. You can tell now that the mood of the country changed and the mood of the people from the ground changed, and that hurt People's National Party.
Let me tell you what, Munchi. Everybody is using the local government election to say the poll is going to be close between the JLP and the PMP. But if you remember that the JLP was backed up in a corner, the time ran out on them as it relates to the local government elections.
Yes.
And they were coming off a long flood, they were coming off a number of issues. People were having bad roads, people were having a lot of issues.
And the Road Traffic Act and the Road Traffic Act people
Right.
upset
Yes.
with the government, and that's the fact.
So we were literally under the water at the time, you know, and the PMP had a field day. Now that has changed significantly, right? There are so much good things that are happening in Jamaica that people can't even though they are seeing it, they can't really believe it. You know? It is because they have never seen it. And I hear Pernell Charles last night said that he's been in active politics for over 60 years now. And it's the first time in his life that he has seen so much development in Jamaica. Right? And for me, I've been around from in the 80s. And to be honest with you, when I see what is happening under this Andrew Holness-led administration, I mean, the only place I've seen this is where I currently live. That you see this kind of development taking place. You know, where you see a whole town or whole area being transformed. And the only other place I've seen it is in Jamaica. And where I live now is the second fastest growing community in the United States outside I'm in a port town inside of Georgia. Right?
Think of New York today because you know see New York I go for the new mayor now.
Yeah, you know, so basically, so when I see what is happening in Jamaica, it's like even here, you know, when you tell people about Jamaica, they begin to tell you about the things that are happening in Jamaica, you know, because things are going viral. People are seeing it. Once you type in Jamaica, you start see roads, you start see new urban center, you start see healthcare, you start see all of these things. This is how the algorithm is sending things. I just type in Jamaica, right? So pretty much everybody's beginning to understand that Jamaica is open for business and we're doing exceptionally well. And I was just talking to somebody a while ago and I was saying to them that the PMP, they are so frantic. They really want to win this election so bad because guess what? If they lose this election, that's it for them. Because think about the possibility, what possibilities do exist when the Jamaica Labour Party is able to reduce its debt to GDP to 60% and below. The kind of fiscal space that will be available for the government to provide capital expenditure that will induce growth within the economy. It means a lot more jobs for people. It means higher paying wages for people. It means better amenities. It means better road conditions, more water in your pipes, more better healthcare facilities, more resources for school, more resources for police. And if we were, and I don't know if you listened to Andrew Holness's budget presentation when he spoke about Mark Golden wanting us to spend $40 billion to share it up and give the people, right? And he said, no, he's going to use that money to pay down the debt. And what happened is that paying down the debt opens up a Pandora of opportunities for us, which we are now seeing. And it makes you exciting that to know that if you can pay down your debt further, and you can have so much more fiscal space within the economy, right? You are not going to think about just taking the money and just give it where you want to pay down the debt, which will create a bigger benefit for the people down the road. And that is where we must begin to think as Jamaicans. Those people who wants to vote, who are wondering, why should I vote? This is why you should vote. Look at what is happening now. We're coming off a situation where our debt to GDP was 149%. Now we've been able to bring our debt down to 68%, which means that before we were able to bring our debt down, is that when we would have paid all our debts and bills, if we were to use everything that we earned from the country and pay up our debt, we would still owe 49% of that money. Now, if we pay up our debts, what would happen is that we still have 32% left. And when we bring it down to 60, it's going to mean 40% of our budget. And if we bring it down to 50, it's going to be 50%. And that means we are going to have a lot more money to spend. It means that we can pay our teachers more, we can pay our policemen more, we can do more roads, we can do more hospitals, we can do more health centers, we can actually provide a lot more resources for our policemen. We can look at paying our pensioners more. There are so much opportunities, and we can build more townships. We can build more parks, we can modernize our communities, we can modernize our township. And this is what moving our status as a country from being a third world to a second world or a first world country in terms of how we live. And that is the exciting thing that we need to think about. And Squitty, if you just give me 2 more minutes, let me just go. In the 1990s, Jamaica pursued what is called an high interest rate policy. And Ardley Shaw was opposition leader, opposition finance person, and spokesman on finance. And every day you hear him talk about the multilaterals. Mm. And if we go to the multilaterals, we can get cheap money to borrow. Right? Now, the PMP and Mark Golden and Peter Bunting had an agenda. They pursue high interest rate policies in the 1990s. And they were the only person who benefit because what they do, they create during Bunting and Golden, they collect people money, invest it in government papers because the government was hell-bent on going to the capital market. So like the private, they would collect the money from people, lend it to the government at 27 and 30% interest rate. They take 20% or 25% and give the people 5%. And they go onto their yachts and sit down and earn money by just doing that. That's all they did. Now, when Ardley Shaw became Prime Minister, Finance Minister, he decided that he was going to the multilaterals and he started to get in money at 3% from the IDB, IMF and all of these international agencies. The model did not help during Bunting and Golden because their model was to lend money to the government at high interest rate. So now they are getting money at 3%. Their business become non-viable. So they sell it to Scotiabank, right? And decided to wait out the government. We lost the election, right? And the PMP came to office. Immediately as the PMP won, they opened proven investment, right? So that they are going to go back to the high interest rate model, right? And that lasted for 4 years. JLP won the election and 2 terms now we have been in government. Proven investment is under the water because the investment model is flawed. And it goes to show you that we don't need Mark Golden and Peter Bunting in government because they have been the biggest rapers of this country in the 1990s. They benefit when everybody else was suffering. They benefit, they become wealthy when everybody else become poor. And why do we want... That's it. So they become wealthy when everybody else and they were the only people who benefit from the 1990s. After they raped the country with the high interest rate, they then finstart the country and get all the sweetheart deals and become billionaires. And we want them back in Jamaica to become Prime Minister and Finance Minister. If you could say now, if you are listening, not under your dead body, Squitty, I'll land here and take some response.
We can go and talk for more.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, Squitty, I'm just simply saying to our fellow Jamaicans who are listening, I mean, it's not because I have anything personally against these people, right? What my thing is, we have to look at what happens under Jamaica-led governments. We believe in building the economy. We believe in building the economy. And I hear some people tell us like economy can't eat. Of course, economy can eat. Because think about your own personal expense. If you go to work and you work $100, and every time you come home, you realize your debt that you have to pay is more than $100, right? You are going to have to constantly borrow in order to be able to to pay off your debt. So if you decide that you are going to go through some austerity measures, you are going to cut out some things out of your budget. You are going to say, all right, I'm going to go and take the taxi and put on the car thing for a little bit. Right? And I'm going to put that down for a year. The money you save from car note, insurance, and all of these things help you to pay down some of your debt. Right? You used to buy a whole heap of fruit every day. You say, all right, I'm not buy a whole heap of fruit. I'm going to make sure I go down a bush, go pick 2 apples. Right? And I put them down and I carry one in my bag. So I'm not going to buy American apples this time. Right? I go get up every morning and go buy breakfast. I go to a supermarket and I go buy some breakfast stuff. I go fry 2 egg and make 2 egg sandwich at morning time and make a cup of coffee. Instead of go a road go buy breakfast every morning. And when I cook my dinner last night, I go share out some and put in one container and carry it go to work. So I don't have to go to work go buy lunch every day. What that does, it saves you some money that you can use, and over a time you realize that you have paid down your debt and what you owe becomes less than what you earn, right? Far less than what you earn, right? And so you have more money to spend, so you can look at now buying a house, buying your car, right? And managing your budget. And the more you are able to bring your debt down, the better you are able to take care of your day-to-day expenses. It's the same thing that the government is doing, right? We had to go through the austerity measures in the first term, COVID, paying down our debts, neglecting some things never get done. But what it's doing for us now, it is creating an opportunity for all of us now to benefit. You think the government could have built a brand new town centre in St. Thomas, fixed road at St. Thomas, big highway, and now open Boundbrook, hospital in a Spanish town, hospital in a UE, new police vehicle, 2,000 of them, increase the police force by 100%. We were only able to do that because we took the bitter medicine in the first term, and it cost us as a party. We almost lost the local government election because of that.
Yeah,
right?
so
Because we almost lost the local government election, and now guess what? Everybody's benefiting from it because you see the things are happening, and you see how it is benefiting us. Because we take the bitter medicine early, we never do the kind of spending that we needed to do because we are trying to bring down with debt. Now we bring it down, have more money to spend, teachers get 100% increase, police get public sector service gets massive increases.
speaking
right?
of teacher Barry, me nah cut you, but look here.
Yeah.
The man where I go be the JTA President King come September morning, Mark Malabry, the former candidate for the St. Thomas Western division, the PNP man. Look out for him September morning. If you don't mind sharp school and up in September because you know say the PNP a mischief maker. We don't know the PNP now come with nothing productive and business about country. So I hope the minister prepare for all him for September morning. Malabry.
You remember what happened to the female the lady from St. Face, and I don't remember what's her name. She was trying to stick up the government, right? And guess what? She go ahead, accept a deal from the government, then she back out died.
You know, she said she run again to be, she said she run again to be the leader next year.
Again. Right. So guess what? The teachers decided, listen, me know where I work with the government. And everybody, a lot of teachers are well-thinking Jamaicans, and they are now beginning to understand that the PNP is no good for Jamaica. Police the same way, right? Nurses the same way, right? So you find that these people are now beginning to understand that PNP no mean them no good, because under PNP all they got was wage freeze.
Hopefully Barry, because I don't have no faith in the teacher. Them. I know say I know everybody, I don't want broad brush them.
Yeah.
But me do my little research and me ask them say, how the voting go? If everybody who's a member of the JTA is supposed to vote, they say yes. So me say, how do not vote? You tell me say if once I collect use out of my pay and Barry, me have to vote. And I don't understand. You have some teachers who just sit down and say, me not vote in the business and allow the PNP them to win the thing all the time. And me say the PNP organizing a Barry because me say most of St. Catherine. I don't want to know, I don't have a case on St. Andrew and St. Catherine have the biggest amount of people, and them organize and them ever vote and them ever put in the PNP.
Jamaica Labour Party never normally encourage their people to take up offices in these organizations, and the PNP are good at it. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but we tend to segregate ourselves from, just like how most of the people in the offices and the government are labor right, intelligent, educated people are labor right, and they don't go vote. They always sit down and say, because them sometimes pretend to be, I don't know how to say it, but they always have to say, listen, boy, I can't take this a PNP government, you know. and they get the pangs of hell, and then they don't go and vote.